today I'm going to start becoming a magician. So what better way to do that than to play with an automatic transmission? Because as everyone knows, automatic transmissions work because of magic. So the goal here, first step, is to disassemble it to sub-assemblies, disassemble each sub-assembly, get things cleaned up, purchase some new parts to go in it, maybe some fancy ones, probably not, put it together, and if I learned my magic correctly, then the transmission will work. Yeah, let's see if that happens. Step one, disassemble. This is a Mopar TorqueFlite 904 transmission. I believe it's a lockup transmission because of this snout. The splines don't come all the way to the end. Non-lockup transmission, these splines come all the way to the end. I know someone has been into this because this is an aftermarket gasket. They have creative plumbing fittings attached to it, and it was painted gray. The previous owner never connected the speedometer, and the shifting was never correct. They really didn't have park. The truck started in reverse, or actually would start in any gear. There was no park. So that's one of the reasons I'm going in, just to see how much damage there was done. This is not going to be a step-by-step how to disassemble, but I can tell you, if you go to the YouTube channel Tyler's Neighborhood Garage, he has a great series, 17 video series on disassembly and most of the reassembly of this. I really appreciate the way that he did it versus the way everybody else does it, which is start taking everything apart, throw it into a box, ta-da, it's done. Anyway, without further ado, let me find a good place for the camera to set and start ripping this thing apart. Okay, so what we're going to start with is, this is the kickdown linkage. Okay, good. I was worried that it would not come loose. In theory, I won't be using this again. We'll see. Ah, there's an E-clip on there. I suppose I should pop that off first. E-clip popper. Perfect. Now I can start losing parts. Washer. And there's going to be a seal, I'm sure. Let's disconnect the other parts first. Yes, I cheated by finding... Oh, that was loose. I cheated by finding all the nuts, or all the wrenches that I needed to do this ahead of time. I have no idea what part is stock and what is not. This does look like not a handmade part, which is good. This is the shifter cable mount, where it pulls on this lever arm right here to do the shifting. So this is the shift selector. There's an adjustment here, probably. That's probably why I didn't have park. I suppose if I took the time to look at it, I could have figured that out. But that would have taken the surprise out of what's inside a transmission. That's nasty. Gloves. Did not put on gloves. Probably should have. And once again, that is not tight. And it's spinning. What size is the other side? Gloves started, might as well go ahead with it. I don't know how far I'm going to go tonight on this. I did clean it up as much as I could. Used Just some Purple Power cleaner and a chip brush. I'm sure that's not a stock part. That looks like a brass nut. Maybe it's stock, who knows. Okay, it came free. Good. Okay. That's about as convoluted a system as you could probably make. I want to say good job to the team for that one. I could tell putting this together is going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad I'm taking some video. Hopefully we can see something in the video, because if we can't, I'm doomed. Kludgy fittings. Hopefully these are not stripped into the aluminum. So this is the transmission fluid cooling line, so it goes out to the transmission cooler, which was not exactly handmade, but it went through a half a dozen fittings on the way, brass fittings, trying to connect rubber hoses to rubber hoses and whatnots. It's not supposed to be, you know, that might be an original fitting. This brass definitely is not. And yeah, okay, good, that came out. I'm sure we won't be using that again. External, yeah, there's an R in there. That's going to be tight, I'm sure. This is too big a socket, apparently. Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, this part, just put the socket away. There's no need to have one socket laying around. Someone will lose a toe. This is a neutral safety switch. This is what should have kept the vehicle from starting, but did not. Let's see, anything else on the external needs to come out here. It's a band tightener. We don't want to remove that. Eventually we will tighten it. So let's loosen it up a little bit, so that when it comes time to tighten it, we'll be able to. I'm guessing a 19. Good guess. I don't believe there's anything. Oh yeah, there is stuff on the other side. A thing. Dipstick tube. This just comes out, just an O-ring seal. Okay, that's not how it's supposed to come out. I can work with that though. Let's put that back in. There we go. That looks like it was done creatively. Perhaps, I don't know. We can leave those parts over there. This is a test port for pressure testing, one of the solenoids. This is another one, solenoid or servo. Nothing comes out of inside there yet. I need to remove the input shaft seal, and I don't have the proper tool for it, but I've picked up a Harbor Freight slide hammer in hopes of being able to use it for removing the pump later on, but I think I'm going to be able to use it to remove this sleeve, hopefully without damaging the shaft. I remember to put on gloves finally, and I found a hook that seems to work. If I can manage to not pinch my fingers while yanking on this. I have a feeling that this is going to go horribly wrong. Regardless of whether it works or not, I've ruined it pretty good. I guess that's something. Okay, this is going horribly wrong. Step one should not be going horribly wrong, but it is. I'm going to turn you guys off so I can focus on this a little bit better and make poor decisions that are not recorded for everyone to see. Okay, family. I think I got it. I'm not proud of myself. Drive a screwdriver in it, mess around with it until I get a hook, and then slide, hammer, pull. Okay. All right, next step. I need to figure out the end play of the shaft. Let's okay. There is end play, that's good. This is Harbor Freight dial indicator and magnetic mount. Not the best machinist tool, I bet. Make this happen. $19, 23.5. Well, that's not how you do it. In place, but we're 22 to 91 for 904s. 22 to 91, so it's 18 is not enough. I'll have to keep doing it until I get a bigger number. That's how measurements work, right? Let's see, total failure on removing the input seal, total failure on measuring this thing, or it's just really tight. It was just theoretically just rebuilt, so they might have set it up tight. I don't know. I feel like I'm just making excuses. I'm going to continue. We'll set it up right on the way out. All right, now it's time to start having some fun. We'll remove 14 bolts on the oil pan. I know those come out because I took them out to theoretically drain the oil. Apparently I only drained some of it. Okay, bag and tag. Yes, it takes time. No, I doubt there's 14 exact the same bolts inside here, but... And off comes the pan. Oh, gasket came with it. Cork gasket. How's it look? Looks a little crappy. Just sludge on the magnets. A little rust in there. Definitely had water. Probably explains some of the problem. Oh my goodness, yes. Looking in here, yes, we have some corrosion. He's ugly. Okay, I'm going to read ahead and then I'll come back and we'll do some. I'm assuming we remove these 3 bolts and a whole bunch of bolts to get the valve body off, but let's find out first. Okay, we are removing 3 bolts that hold the filter on. Ugh. Yeah, I think it was time. 10 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see if these are all the same size. Uh-oh. There goes the magic. Did you hear that? Something went sprawling. Okay, there's that clip. Clip not dropped. I'm going to ignore the fact that a bunch of pieces fell out. And this is the, oh God, the valve body. No idea. All I know is there's perch loose down there. We're definitely past the point of no return now. Okay, it does not run in the wrong direction. This is supposed to pull out. For everybody else on the internet, you're able to wiggle this thing out. Okay. I'm going to take Tyler's advice. Call it a night. See you guys in the morning. Had some time to look at some videos online at what I'm trying to deal with here and realize that I'm sure it's not truly uncharted territory, but no one's videotaped how to do some of this stuff because this is a four-wheel drive unit. There should be a plate here that you pull out and you do a snap ring and then this will slide off, but that's not there. So I'm gonna try to figure out as we go today. Another thing that sharp-eyed viewers I'm sure noticed was on top of this accumulator there's supposed to be a spring, and there's not. The seals are there, but there should be a spring or there should be a rod stuck inside of this right here to keep it pressed up to firm up shifts or something like that as part of a shift kit. Now, throughout the build, I'm going to talk about the previous owner and his creativity, his craftsmanship. Oh, this is damaged, it looks like, as well. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. It's not really a dig on him, not really dragging him. When I bought the truck, I told him I didn't care about the transmission, I didn't care about the engine, didn't care about the wire harness, didn't care about any of the things that are the obvious problems with the vehicle. All I cared about was the body and the VIN number and the title. That's all I wanted. And all of this extra is bonus. That's why I'm disassembling this myself instead of sending it off to someone to just get it done. Because if it doesn't work out, it's fine. There's a lot of transmissions out there. I can buy one that works and we call it a day. If I could figure out how the magic in this thing works, it'll be awesome. All right, so I'm going to continue trying to get this park rod out of here. I don't think I can. I'm not sure. I think this is part of a different process. Yes, I broke all these bolts loose before starting the camera because troubles. Let's see what we can get done. No, you're not going to have to watch me remove all the bolts by hand. This is the only one you can't get a socket to. Okay. In theory, this will come apart. We'll see how that goes. Fortunately, they all appear to be the same length. drips oil out. Nice. Betting I need to remove this plug for some reason. Or not. Now I can find out why this does not. Oh, parking pawl is just busted. That's why. Let's see if this will pop out through that hole. It does. And now it pops out. Good. I'll just leave that like that. There is a ring on here. Okay, eventually I'm going to need to pop that off. First, I will disassemble the governor. See how this goes. Okay, brilliant. In theory, this will push up through. Or not. Pause while I read the instructions. Okay. That happened faster than I thought it would. The governor is assembled like this. And there's a circlip on here. At the small end, this goes in here. And it's spring loaded. On this side is a thing. Might be a weight, I don't know. It's in there. There's a little bitty circlip down there. Is it a circlip? It's a spring clip. It's E-clip. We'll remove the E-clip. Remove a circlip that's here and a circlip at the far end that you already saw. And the whole thing disassembles. Whole thing disassembles. That's the way it went. God, I hope that's the way it went. No, I don't know. Did it go this way? Or did it go? I think it goes that way. This goes in there like that. Then there's an E-clip. I'm going to put back on. Wow. That was violent. Be a little more careful this time. Wow. That required a lot of force. Strong people probably could have just done that. I do not identify as strong people. Found another sneaky snap ring hiding in here. See if I can get a tool in there. I hate the idea of trying to grab it and then potentially ending up with my finger pinched. Maybe that's the plan. Okay. In theory, this will slide off now. Ooh. Fancy. I wonder if I should put it back together. I'm just going to leave it set up like this. All right, let's see what the rules say next. It says go right to the front, oil pump and reaction shaft. Why don't we play with this more? Well, because this is probably loose now and it could come out. All right, I'm going to shut you down, turn this all stuff around, reset all my tools, and clean my hands. You know, someone should have come up with disposable rags that are highly absorbent, but made out of something cheaper than cloth. You know, something perhaps made out of paper. They could be any size, you know, small sizes all the way to towels. You know, paper napkin, we could call them, to, you know, napkin size to towel size, paper towels. Someone should have had something like that. Anyway. Surprise, surprise. Taking all that stuff off the back that was restricting shaft movement allows me to move the shaft a little easier now. So we're going to measure the, I guess, end play we would call it here. See if it's the same. So before we were getting just under 20 thousandths. Now it's 59. Yep, it's 59 thousandths. Okay, I feel better knowing that we could get some measurement on that shaft end play, whether that's the correct one. I'll reach out to someone who actually knows the answer and get some better information from them in the future. Next step is to tighten this band adjuster. So we'll tighten the rear band, or the front band, on the clutches to keep them centered. So when we pull the oil pump out, we don't potentially damage something. So in order to do that, find our best crescent wrench and start cranking this in. It doesn't say how tight to make it. Let's see if it makes a difference with the output shaft. I don't know if it does or not. I don't think it will. It's probably good enough. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty tight. We'll call that good enough. We'll take this up a little bit. Move a light so we can see in there a little bit. Yes, I just finished loosening these a little bit. A lot of little bits going on here. We'll check all of these for length. Something looks weird on that. Washer's torn up. Washer's torn up on this one as well. I'm guessing it's either really filthy or they weren't synced properly. Oh, I apparently missed one. See, not that tight. All right, now this will pull out. I'm gonna have to use a slide hammer for this. Let me set up the slide hammer. I did check my slide hammer does thread in. I've done it without the weight on first. I don't like the way the holes look, but we'll see what's happening. Okay, that's working. How about that? I kind of expected more trouble. Of course, that's not a... I don't like the way this hole looks. This hole's kind of oblong. It's definitely oblong. Wood blocks back under there. was. Let's look. So imagine this is the reaction shaft. No, this is the input shaft. The other one will be the reaction shaft. This is the oil pump. What are we looking at here? Somehow it does oil pump things. That seal was not flat. It was pitched somehow. All right, let's put this back over here. That. Put the bolts in it for now because I was out. Did not buy paper towels, did not buy rags, did not buy bags. I guess that means I get to go back out. I'm happy with that. I can live with that. Check the instructions, but I believe the next step is loosen the band clamp and remove it. Let's see what it says. Is it loose? Yes, it is loose. Okay. Remove the strut. Slide the clutch out. Yeah, it's going to be easier with this piece. Oh my gosh, that's heavier than it looks. Okay. We'll look at that in a minute. Get this band clutch out. Yeah, we were never going to get it out the other way. How does that look? It looks new enough, but this was rebuilt recently. You can still see markings on it. Put this here with its struts. Let's look at this assembly. What do we got going here? That's going to be a clutch pack. Let's see if we can see how many clutches we have in there. We have 1, 2, I think there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 clutches. We'll look at it in more detail later. Then what do we have here? Ooh, maybe this is the one. I don't know. What do we have here? This is another set of clutches. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 there. Yep, 4 clutches there. That might be the back set of clutches. Yeah, because that came out of that drum. Probably wasn't supposed to come out yet. But we'll call it out. Call it a day. What else do we got going on? Mess out here. Let's tip this back. It's rear heavy now. What do we have going on in there? That's where the thrust washer is, right here. No, don't fall. All right. In theory, the center section of this drum pulls out now. I don't think so, because there's a circlip on there. There's definitely a circlip on there. We checked the instructions again to see if there was supposed to be a circlip there. Okay, further reading in the instructions says nothing about a circlip here. I'm assuming they just figured that we'd be smart enough to find it ourselves. I'm also wondering if I have the complete wrong instructions, something for a completely different transmission, maybe a much older version or a newer version. I don't know. All I know is I have no idea at this point how I'm going to figure out how to put all this together. These circlips are a nightmare. I've got to get a bag for these. I'm going to have to go steal some from upstairs maybe. Oh, that was cool. So this is the planetaries. So there's 4 planetaries. It's in a steel case, which is good. appears it's a steel hub. I'm happy with that. The sun gear remains in there, but let me fiddle fart around some more with the instructions and see if I can figure out what the next step is, and then we'll figure it out together. Alright, turns out we were supposed to bring out a whole section, the whole drum as well, with it probably. And there's a piece loose in here. I wonder if that was supposed to be loose. I don't know. Magic. They're full of magic, but at least I can take this now. This here. Reassemble that. Where's the circlip that I had? The slur clip went right there. Okay. The next step is to remove the clamp here. Let's let this roll towards us so you can all see it. I'm going to remove this band. How do we stop it from rolling any further? There we go. I think this is the adjuster here. There's probably not supposed to be rust on parts inside a transmission, considering it's supposed to be full of oil. Oil floats on top of water, makes sense. This is the bottom, so this had water in it. Wonderful. Wonder if these are parts I'll be replacing as well. From what I could tell from the instructions, I need to back this screw off, which reduces the pressure on the clamp here. And I'll be able to pull this cast iron clamp off and pull the drum off at the same time. We'll find out. Why is this? I'm gonna mess with this again off camera. Alright, it was definitely rusted on. It just needed some loosening. Can we get it apart now? There's a piece in there. What is going on? It's connected to that. Ooh, that's weird. Not sure that's supposed to happen, but that happened. So this is the sprag, from what I understand, and something else. There's a circlip in there, so there's something happening in there too. No idea what. Let's find a nice place for this to sit. I think there's zero chance this is going back together. Maybe the drum comes out of the thing. Ooh, how about that? Drum comes out. Ugh, it was full of stuff. Drum definitely comes out. There somehow. See if we can get this thing out. It seems to be attached somehow. I'm not seeing that come out without this coming apart. Hold it, what's that? Okay. I'll never make that happen again. Ooh, there's spare parts down there too. Okay, now we need you to be somewhere else to make room for you, to make room for you. And down in here, I found a spring and a ball. Now, people with good memories, or why don't I just use a magnet to grab that? People with good memories will recall that when I removed the throttle body, parts went ding, 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 ding. And I believe they're the parts that go here. Oh shit, so to speak. There it is. For that, I'm just going to leave the parts there. So that's for the selector. That's the detent ball that goes click, 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 I think. That probably didn't need to come all the way out. I'm going to stick this back in there a little bit. That looks like a nightmare in there. That's the overrun clutch. It keeps it from exploding when you over rev the thing. I don't think there's fear of me over revving this with this diesel motor, but we'll figure that out. I think the next thing that comes out is the servos, which should also be fun because they require valve spring compressors or such, and I don't have those yet. All right, let's turn you guys off and we'll come back when I've figured out a new plan. Or not necessarily a new plan, but when I have a plan. Okay, the next official step is to remove the overrun clutch assembly here. I'm going to skip that step for now until I definitely have bags here to bag things into. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this servo. This is the kickdown servo, the front servo. In order to remove this rocker arm, this pin has to come out, which means in here, in the bell housing itself, there's a stop that holds that. Those pieces there. Let this set in here. In theory, we do the same thing with this one. Behind this gasket, there should be another. I think there is. Let's see if it's the same kind. Of course not. Having determined that my transmission is different than the ones in the instructions I'm looking at and most of the online stuff, I'm kind of playing it by ear. But getting the reverse servo band tensioning arm out, the rocker, is important. In Tyler's Neighborhood Garage, this idea comes from him, who came from a Paula, I believe Rogers, who's helping him. He gave her credit for it. Take a valve body screw, put it into this pin, and then work it out. You can't really screw it in. You can kind of lock it a little bit. I had it in there, but you're just basically trying to just get it to loosen a little bit up. Now mine is different. Rotate this so we can see what's going on in here from everybody else's. And why is it completely rotating? It shouldn't. Anyway, Everybody else's arm, the tensioner, including my instructions, this bolt is over here, and there's a pin here. And there's some brackets down here that are not part of the thing. So this is a later improved design or an older inferior design. But regardless, I'm going to pull this pin out. The pin has O-rings on it that seals it to keep it from leaking out against the gasket. Okay, I thought this was going to be easier, and it's not. Let's see what we got going here. Alright, it forced me to do it the hard way, using pliers. I don't like that idea, but it is a steel pin, so I'm sure it didn't do anything. Anyway, there's one O-ring on there. There's a second O-ring land. I'm wondering if there should be a second O-ring on there. I don't know. And then in here, okay, you want to rotate? You're allowed to rotate now for this. This pops out. And there's another piece. This piece is not included in anyone else's instructions. Oh, it's 3 pieces. Well, it's kind of just swaged together, but yeah. Let's put the pin back in here until I get the correct bags, and that will sit inside the band. All right, next one. Get this to set flat again somehow. Good luck, I know. Convince it to stop moving. Need to get these pistons out. I liked Tyler's idea. Used a clamp. Used a regular C clamp. I got an F clamp. It's a welding clamp. That was probably loud. Sorry about that. See if I can get some pressure against this to release the spring. Yeah, that's going to rotate. That's fine. Now I need a screwdriver. There's a circlip in here, right? That we need to get out. I like that the circlip is not entirely buried. I feel like this is going to hurt somehow. Okay, it's not going to be that bad. Let's rotate your can down here. So I'm going to try to get it out of the groove and then work it around. Ow. That one actually did hurt. That was a pinch. Those in there just to keep it from popping back down. I don't know how to do this easily. I'm feeling this is going to end up badly. Okay, you just go anywhere you need. Probably against the clamp instead of the aluminums. Pull on it to get it out. Putting it back in there is going to be fun, I could tell. Oh, that was not hard at all. I was making it harder than it needed to be. Okay. So we can get the clamp free. Okay, I'm going to put this, build it into there somehow. Yeah, that clip is damaged now, I think. spring under this. I don't know how springy it is. There's supposed to be a spring under this, but I've seen how the builder has already left out a part, a different spring. Okay. Now we need to get this valve out, this piston out. How does that come out? Okay, I was able to move it a little bit by hand. It popped. Okay. There's a top. There's a spring. There's a shaft. All right, cool. And the fluid looks good in there. I mean, for as bad as some of the parts look, the fluid looks good. Of course, it was leaking all the time and constantly being replaced. All right, so that's the order that went. I'm going to put that one towards the front. I can remember where that goes. And let's try the rear one. The rear one looked like it was more fun. So I'm going to light in here. See, okay, there's a clip right there. There's a clip underneath it. Yeah, I don't know how that works. Where's the other end of it? Or is that the end of a spring? That's the end of a spring. Oh, the clip is out here. The clip is out here. It's not under here. So I need to press down on this piece to get that out. So he used a piece of metal on that. Funny thing is, I recognized it for what it is. It's part of a trailer hitch installation kit, a universal kit. This truck had one of those on it. And I held onto the parts. And I truly hope that we're getting decent footage here, because this is getting more and more fun all the time. Let's get a clamp on this. We can. Oh, that clamped down pretty easy, actually. I think. Up here too. Let's get this over here. Or better yet, let's turn it this way. Okay, this is where a C-clamp would actually be easier, so it wouldn't keep changing. Assuming that's good enough. Let's rotate, let this rotate down a little bit anyway. What the heck's going on here? Let's do this. And what do you think? Try it the same way. Put something under it, behind it. How did I do this before? Pressing against it. pliers, grabbed a hold of it, and pulled on it. I think that's going to be the way that it has to be. I hope there's light here for you to see this. This is absolutely terrifying for me. Not because I'm worried about getting hurt. I just don't want to break something at the last second. It's the last set of pieces to come out. Grab something. Get in there, maybe. Easier. Alright, apparently we got it. Just my clamp is keeping it from coming free, I think. Let's keep spinning it around. Right round, baby, right round. Like a record, baby. If I loosen the clamp. Yep, that was the trick. Come on. Why won't the clamp release? There we go. Clip. Cap of sorts, a spring, oh crap, that, oh golly, that did not go as planned at all. Hope I didn't get any on you. Definitely got some on me. That's a lip seal on there, okay. At this point, all that's left is this overrun clutch material and an outside housing. I can't get good information. There's no information in my instructions about this at all. So this is something that was added over time after my instructions were written. The best I can tell is I can pull out these pins, I guess you'd call them, springs and maybe keepers that are associated with those, and then drive this whole piece out of the housing. Remove a couple screws and that will drive out. The question I'm having with myself is, why do I want to do that? If I take this to have a hot tank, I could see wanting to do that. This is a press fit. Do I want to get into the trouble of putting it back together? I don't know. Is there any metal in there? No, okay, good. I don't know. Yeah, what's the worst thing that could happen? Let's find out how tricky it is to get them out. Take one out, find out what that's like. Okay, I don't like that at all. I have a feeling I won't be doing that with all of them. See how hard it is to get back. A wavy spring. And is this keeper captured? Yeah, that looks like a horrible idea. I think I'm going to put that back together and just clean this up the best I can. A lot of brake cleaner, and yeah. I think there's less reason to hot tank this. What's the worst thing that could happen? I can't put it back together, I guess. So this is the part of the project where I'm waiting for some parts to come for the transmission. And before I forget, huge shout out and thanks to John Cope from Cope Racing Transmissions, who took time out of his day to laugh at my jokes, laugh at me, and ultimately sell me the parts I need to get my transmission back together. We decided to go with the simplest way possible, which is a gasket and seal kit, because it just recently been rebuilt and the clutches are new, the seals are new. I don't need to do anything with that. So we're going to do that, replace the filter, and replace the valve body with the reverse manual valve body. What I've been trying to convince myself for the last, I don't know, 20 minutes, me and the dog here, trying to figure out if I'm going to have to remove the dashboard from this. Even though I know I am. I've been trying to convince myself I didn't need to. But I've got too many wires going through the firewall to not take it out. And, you know, I know it needs to come out anyway. If for no other reason than when I wire in the VW engine, I don't want to be upside down underneath the dashboard trying to make it work. I don't want to be upside down underneath the dash trying to install the new throttle pedal. It's all got to come out. I really don't want to do it because that's another level of magic, but I know it can be done. We'll see how many pieces we can break doing it. But before that, I need to just, me and the dog need to go get some lunch. Come on, Diesel. All right, let's go. Let's go get some French fries. Wanna go for a ride?